What's up, guys? Hello, everybody. Pass the mic. Mike Passamonte here. Carl Graham and JP, my co-host, for our Pass the Mic third Christmas show.
Yeah.
Third year we've done a Christmas show on Pass the Mic. Merry Christmas, guys. I know it's a little early, but we're not going to have a show before Christmas because next week I'll be traveling. How you guys doing today?
I'm all right. I'm doing all right. Merry Christmas. It's one of the most exciting shows that we do. I always like this show. It's always, exciting talk and wishes and commands, and most of mine never come true, but it's always good. It's always good to have, and I look forward to this show all the time, and especially this year, we need to, get to 2020 Christmas, hope for our wish, and move on.
Isn't it crazy? This year is already over.
It's
crazy. This year is over, and it's just flown by. JP, Carl just said it, and we're going to do it. We're going to give our Christmas wish list for our sports team. We'll each have a couple. We'll have three. We'll come up one at a time, and we'll give what we want for Christmas for our sports teams. I guess people could definitely guess mine.
I would have worn a Christmas sweater, but I didn't want to wear my Jets jersey.
You should have.
My ugly Christmas sweater.
I got my hat. I got my Christmas sweater. I even had to open the window because I would have been dying. But let's get started, guys. Let's start. I want to start, though, with NCAA. And here's my question. I know how Carl's going to feel about this because it's not a team that he likes. At the beginning of the year, they weren't sure how many games everybody was going to be able to play, right? Pac-12 wasn't even going to play. Big Ten wasn't even going to play. So when Big Ten started, they decided that you have to play at least 6 games to be in their title game. Not the national title game. You could still go to that. But into the Big Ten title game, you have to have at least 6 games. What they didn't want is a team to go like 2-0, 3-0 and get into the title. But it happened where Ohio State is only having 5 games. So because it's Ohio State, they have to have this big meeting. All the ADs come and they vote, let's get rid of that rule. Carl, fair or not fair? Right or wrong?
Wrong.
The rule.
Absolutely wrong.
To change the rule midstream, right or wrong?
It's not even midstream. It's changed the rule 1 week before the championship game. It's absolutely wrong. If we're going into a COVID and we're going whatever you believe in this thing, it could happen. And it did. It happened to all the sport teams, whatever it is, and people going. If you're setting rules, then that's the rules. You can't be throwing them around. Say, there are, excuses here, excuses here. BYU is trying to get games left and right. I mean, they already played 10. They
just added a game the other day.
Right. I think it's wrong. Why don't we wait another week or something and let them get their games in or something? I mean, people are canceling left and right. I mean, but I think it's wrong. If it was Ohio, if it was Iowa State, if it was Cincinnati, if it was BYU, would they switch that rule?
No.
Okay.
JP, how do you feel?
I'm going to go with this argument. I think what they should have done if there was 2 game cancellations and they should have gotten the games this way. They should have partnered up teams that had situations where they could play games and get games in and say, screw the schedule. Exact term. If they weren't playing the regular season, put them together. And just do that. And that's what they should have done. And, at this point, it is what it is. I mean, this year is I'm already saying I'm already throwing away this year's national title game. If it's going to end up being Ohio State versus Alabama, I would laugh this one off.
What if it's not that?
If it ends up being the only game I would accept right now.
Hold on, you can't do that. You can't.
No, I'm just saying.
I'm going to accept. I think that's what we're saying went wrong here. You can't.
I'm saying like the fourth game.
All right, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
There's a reason why I'm going to say this. Because the odds of this happening are very slim. Because honestly, if Ohio State makes the playoff, they're going to be the 4th team anyway. So I don't think they
so.
probably will. They probably will get to be. They'll probably be the 4th team. Because I got a feeling if Notre Dame either doesn't get embarrassed, because I think they're going to lose to Clemson. On Saturday. I think they're going to. If Notre Dame holds their own against Clemson, and let's say loses by a touchdown, they're going to.
We're getting off on a tangent.
That's why I'm saying this.
Give me a game.
Give me a game. I would accept Notre Dame or Clemson versus Alabama.
Okay, here's the problem with that. What we just said. You have to either go into the season saying this is going to be legitimate or this is not. Not if I get the game I like, it's legitimate.
Oh, it's going to be legitimate.
Well, you said it wasn't. You said you're going to laugh it off.
But I'm not going to really accept, quote unquote. I'm not meaning by quote unquote accept. I mean by, like, for example, when I say there's an I wouldn't say there's an asterisk next to it, but you got to say to yourself, did Ohio State really deserve to be there? Like, type idea, like that type of debate.
Here's what I'll say about Ohio State. If Ohio State was breaking the COVID rules, like we've seen teams do, like we've seen Tennessee do, we saw a couple of NFL teams do it. The Broncos, the Ravens, whoever. If they were breaking the rules and their games got canceled because of that, then you know what? You're penalizing them, fine. But this wasn't them canceling it. It's other teams that are playing them. So this is out of their control. So while I hate the fact, you're both right. Carl, absolutely, if it was Indiana, if it was Iowa State, if it was any other – Iowa, any other team in the Big Ten, they wouldn't have done this. Granted. And it's not their fault, though, so I can see why they did it because this was absolutely out of their control. Other teams backed out of them, and they're clearly the best team in the conference. Yeah. And clearly one of the best teams in the country. Absolutely.
I'm agreeing with you on that Ohio State
do not think that if they beat Northwestern and go 6-0, that they're going to be number 4 with 2 one-loss teams ahead of them. I don't think that at all. No way.
Because you look at who they played. Well, the only win they have is Indiana.
Granted, but they played the Big Ten, and they'll have Northwestern.
Yeah.
They played the Big Ten.
You can't. They don't deserve it. I don't say they deserve it. They deserve it. Ohio State's one of the better teams in football. I deserve it. But if you're going to make a rule, stand by it. Now, all Ohio State is say,
I agree with that.
We'll play against any college that wants to play. We'll play, fine, whatever. Look at Georgia. Not like they're going to make it in there because they have the 2 losses, but they're number 7 or 8 or whatever they are. Vanderbilt just walked away. Says we have a COVID. We're done for the year. The coach is fired. Everybody's gone. And we're done. Now, Georgia don't have a game. Now, why? No matter what people think, Georgia wants to play. They said we need a game.
Hold on. There's a lot that goes into that. First of all, who knows? I know BYU is doing it, but who knows how really safe that is to just all of a sudden, book hotel rooms? I don't know. There's a lot that goes into just putting a game like that together. If it was in conference, I'll give you an example. Say say Wisconsin's game got canceled and Ohio State's game got canceled. Then in conference, they could turn around and say, listen, put this game together. Wasn't supposed to be on the schedule.
No, I understand.
But you can't expect them to go out of conference and play another team. First of all,
add what you're saying to that, Mike. To add on to that, like if it was a conference game, let's say Ohio State, Wisconsin, Wisconsin could fly on a plane and play and go back the same night. Like you could reasonably fly to Milwaukee.
Yeah, and in most conferences, not all of them. Like if it was Maryland, it wouldn't be like that.
Yeah, Maryland wouldn't work.
Yeah, but you're right. And it's in conference, so you can control it because that's really what we're talking about right now. This wasn't an NCAA rule. This was just their conference rule, which doesn't really mean anything anyway because they still would have been eligible for the bowl championship.
Correct.
Or whatever they call it, the playoffs.
Playoffs.
Yeah, playoffs. So they still be – so we're just arguing over the one game, whether they should get it or not. Yeah. They
should have never made. They should have never made in the first place.
Listen, the way
this
year –
change it like that, you should just let it go and then this week decide. That's
but the way this year went, think about it. In March, we thought everyone was going to die. Like the way this year went, you just had to make rules. You had to make rules and make situations that you had no idea what was going to happen. They could have. You thought they were going to play one game and everyone was going to cancel.
Right.
So you had people in the room thinking that also, and they came up with this rule, which wasn't a terrible idea, but they didn't consider what if other teams broke the rules like this happened or just got COVID and Ohio State didn't. How are you going to punish them?
Right. I agree.
That said, you gave a little bit of a glimpse. So give me who's your top 4 going to be? JP,
me?
Go first. Yeah. Who's your 4 in the playoffs?
I mean, it's going to come down to this. How bad does Notre Dame lose? If they could lose by 4 touchdowns, then I think if USC could beat Oregon pretty handily, I think you make an argument for USC or Oklahoma. Whoever, I think Oklahoma or Iowa State, whoever, whichever one of those conference champions has a handed win.
Right.
I would argue that they could deserve a shot at maybe getting some votes.
No,
But honestly, at the end of the day,
Pac-12, whatever they are, weren't even eligible.
yeah. But at the end of the day, I'm going with Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, and I'm going to go with Notre Dame because I think they're going to wind up playing respectable.
Carl, what do you got?
Well, of course, this week's going to be a great week with the football. I agree with JP, but I'm a Notre Dame jump bandwagon, whatever I'm rooting for, because I don't like Clemson.
You always hated Notre Dame.
Yeah.
No,
I just don't like Lawrence. I don't like all that stuff like that with the hype. I'm more of a Fields supporter. I like him in Ohio State. But you're saying, if Notre Dame, which can lose by 4 touchdowns, I'm not going to say they won't, and they can't. They can. But Notre Dame's defense can also show up and play good.
Oh,
but
yeah.
You're slipping teams in there. Who knows what's going to happen. But I'm going to agree with you. But I also like Cincinnati. Cincinnati's playing a ranked team.
Who they playing?
They're undefeated.
That's my lamp. Carl's telling me that Ohio State played nobody, and then he wants to throw Cincinnati, which
Hey,
Panera Bread. They played Panera Bread.
So Clemson played one tough team and they lost.
all of the teams Clemson played are tougher than what Cincinnati played.
Hey,
Oh.
Cincinnati's the only undefeated team in the top 8. Why not?
They're only in the top 8 because they're undefeated. But okay.
But my four will be Notre Dame, Alabama, Ohio State, and I think they'll just put Clemson in there after they lose to Notre Dame because it's Clemson.
Oh, so now they're going to lose to Notre Dame.
Oh yeah,
You just said that.
they can lose by 14, but I'm sticking with Notre Dame. It could go either or.
Notre Dame. What was the first game? It was in overtime without Lawrence in there. Was it a 3-point game or a 6?
It was
3.
It was 3. 48-45. Yeah.
It was a shootout. Listen, Notre Dame has impressed the whole year. The whole year. Who's the tough game they had? Was it Louisville or was it
Louisville?
Louisville, right? Like
Yeah.
took them to the wire. Like really.
It was like 13-10.
Yeah, ridiculous game. We didn't know how anything about Louisville at the time. But
Louisville's a tough team. Like ACC top to bottom is a tough out every week.
Ohio State's going. Alabama's going. Clemson is going to beat Notre Dame. If they beat them by 3, Notre Dame's out. If they beat them by 3, they're out.
They're saying they're saying possibly they're out, but they're also said that if Notre Dame beats Clemson, Clemson's out too.
Yeah, two losses has to be out. Yeah,
but you know who would throw a wrench into this?
I think my 4th is Texas A&M.
You know who would throw a wrench into this?
They beat Florida, right? Who beat them? Was it Alabama, right?
Alabama plays Florida.
No,
Yeah.
who beat A&M?
Alabama.
Yeah. So I think that's the 4th team. I don't think it's Cincinnati. I don't think it's definitely not a Pac-12 team. How many games are they playing? Like 4?
Who?
Pac-12. Pac-10 used to be. Yeah. I don't think USC's got a shot. I think it's going to be A&M.
I'm going to make a bold statement to you here.
Okay.
If Alabama loses somehow to Florida, I think that's where the wrench is.
I think Carl just passed out because you said that. Carl,
I'm like,
in love with that quarterback. Absolutely.
Florida guy?
Kyle Trash. Absolutely in love with him.
I like his chances of being like, I watched him, I watched the BYU guy.
We lost your audio. Can't hear you.
I think he'll be the quarterback that comes out of that draft. That's going to be the one. Just like a couple other years in a row, I said I think he's going to be the one that comes out of that draft, and he's going to be the spotlight.
I think he's I think he's got a shot at being number 3 or 2. I think he's got a shot at being 2 or 3 in the draft.
They say the BYU kid's ahead of him now.
I watched the BYU kid. You know what he reminds me of? Trubisky. When I saw him, I'm like, this is Trubisky 2.0. Jim McMahon meets Trubisky.
He could play like Trubisky the last 3 games. He'll be all right.
I'm talking not good Trubisky either, like overthrows. Like I watched him play Boise State, and Boise State's no world beater. And I wasn't impressed with how he played against a Boise State team, which honestly was like,
Did
on
you
a Friday night in Boise.
Did you watch Kyle Trash last week against LSU? Not a good defense at all. 3 interceptions.
Yeah,
One,
I mean,
it wasn't his fault, but the
Hey,
other
still
two.
I mean, that game was a weird
It
game
still
anyway.
counts. No, I
Somebody
agree.
threw a show.
Everybody has a bad game. They have bad games.
Not Trevor.
But also, LSU
Not
was,
Trevor.
I think, playing a little bit like a Super Bowl. That game was a Super Bowl, in my opinion, because
Every good quarterback gets that. Every good team gets that.
yeah,
Everyone who plays Ohio State, it's the Super Bowl for them. Everyone who plays Alabama and Clemson, it's the Super Bowl for them. You got to be able to play in that game. I agree with you, but that's not an excuse.
I'm not making an excuse. I'm just saying I watched that game. That was a weird. I even said, "Is there like something go?" I asked, did they put something in LSU's Gatorade or something? Because man, they played like not like the LSU that they were this year. That was the best LSU team the whole year.
Bunch of
Who the
19-year-olds.
quarterback is? I know you know. Who the quarterback for LSU, the kid?
Brad Johnson's son.
Yeah. Brad Johnson, the worst. All right, let's get into this. This is an interesting conversation. The worst quarterbacks ever to win a Super Bowl. Me and Carl were talking about it. Brad Johnson's name came up, so I said I think before Foles, Brad Johnson was the worst quarterback to win a Super Bowl. He won it with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Gruden.
I have 4 guys who might be worse than him.
All right,
Go ahead.
give me your top 3. Give me your top 3. Worst.
Come on, JP. I'm counting on you.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Jeff Hostetler.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That Jeff Hostetler, I don't think was that bad, but that's a good one. Okay,
Nick Foles.
Foles, definitely, he's on my list. Carl
And the
Dunn.
other one is this is a debatable one because I'm going to debate because some people call him a borderline Hall of Famer. To me, I never viewed him as much better than really a guy who got overpaid. Who honestly, Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Like, I really had this tough debate with myself about this. Like, I was debating. Like, I actually had a little debate about it.
He did have good years.
Yeah, he did.
He did have good years. And
So did Foles. I mean,
No, he
Foles. I'm making a point. You could consider Foles. I'm making a point here. You could consider what Foles did he had a really good 6-game stretch. I mean, with Flacco, he had good years, but were they really good? I mean, were they really just the team around him being good?
Flacco, here's the difference with Flacco and Foles. Besides the 2 years that Foles was really good, he didn't even play full seasons those 2 years, right?
Mhm.
It was just a run.
Right.
And he was never good after that or before that. Never. He was bounced around to 4 teams now or 5 teams? Or maybe 5 times. 5 times because he was with Philly twice.
Jacksonville, Chicago, 5.
5.
So then 6 times he was moved because he went to Philly twice.
Yep.
Flacco was just, Flacco's a lot like Stafford, a lot like, those that Matt Ryan, where they could put up a lot of numbers, just, not great, not terrific. He's got good numbers. He's got numbers, but he's not a great quarterback. He's not in the class of Foles. Trent Dilfer, you didn't mention. He's on that list.
Oh, I forgot him.
Carl's got a good one. Go ahead, Carl.
Joe Namath.
He's a Hall of Famer. I'm sorry.
That's what I said. He's a 2-time MVP of the
Joe
league
Namath.
and a Hall of Famer. How is that a bad player?
Joe Namath. And you know what? I'll be honest with it. Be honest with you. I didn't even think of him until I watched a couple things. I was home for quite a few days in a row and, in bed and whatever. But I watched, and they brought him up as a top 2 of the worst quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl. What made him famous?
He's in the Hall of Fame.
So we can go into the Hall of Fame and see who goes in the Hall of Fame. Let's see if we could have a list next week or 2 weeks and see who really deserves the Hall of Fame. We don't have to go by that.
I mean, here's
John
the Hall of Fame.
John Elway's in the Hall of Fame with 3 losses in the Super Bowl. That's fair.
3 losses.
I'm going to clarify that.
2 wins.
John Elway
Has
lost
records.
3.
And he has more touchdowns than interceptions.
He didn't have any records for the Super Bowl.
Records, all-time records altogether before they were broken. And he also has more
I
touchdowns
mean-
than interceptions.
To clarify the Hall of Fame argument here, the problem with the Hall of Fame is I think the Football Hall of Fame is probably the best one because unlike baseball, they don't change in my opinion, baseball changes the yardstick a few times with how to judge players. I think the yardstick has changed way too many times that there are players like Mattingly, in my opinion. I can keep naming guys. Mattingly. There's a couple other guys I think
I think actually it's the opposite. I think baseball never changed their argument. Mattingly didn't get in because he never had any magic number.
But Edgar Martinez, in my opinion,
didn't have 500 home runs, didn't have 3,000 RBIs.
Edgar Martinez didn't deserve to make it, in my opinion.
Edgar Martinez didn't or did?
In my opinion, I don't think Edgar Martinez deserved.
Yeah, because he's DH?
In my opinion, because there's also another guy who got in last year, the Veterans Committee, that everyone was talking about.
And I know the one person that's in the Baseball Hall of Fame that they should shut it down after letting him in is Harold Baines. Harold Baines,
ding ding ding. You said it.
Hall of Famer.
If Harold Baines is a Hall of Famer, you want me to name who I think Hall of Famer if he is?
Everybody.
You want me to name who I think is? I'll go far here. Mattingly, Prince Fielder, Ryan Howard. That's not lower the totem pole because.
Yeah, but why are we even worried about this? So we have to have lists, or we could go 3 nights straight about these Hall of Famers if they deserve to be in or not. So we can stop that conversation. You know, with the name, if he's a Hall of Famer, yes, he predicted to win. Yes, he did win. But he's one of the, if you look at his stats and the way he plays, he's one of the worst quarterbacks that made it into the Hall of Fame.
Here's what happened with Namath. I agree. He's slightly overrated because of the guarantee. Absolutely.
Right.
But he has a Super Bowl win.
So doesn't
mean it.
Right.
He has 2 MVPs. The first quarterback ever to throw for 4,000 yards. And then he just had horrendous knee injuries and tried to play through them with the Jets and then with the Rams and never recovered. Now, I get it. That's kind of an argument against the Hall of Fame. Maybe. You want to tell me he doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame because his career wasn't but he is not and was not at that time a bad quarterback where you could say he's one of the worst quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl. That's just ridiculous. That's just whatever show you watch, you always do that. And then like next month, you'll watch the same show. They'll say something you hate and you'll say they hate him, like Stephen A. Smith. Let me ask you one question. Hall of Fame or not? He's in the Hall of Fame. Does he deserve it? Kurt Warner. JP.
Yes, for one reason. Kurt Warner, I think you got to take into effect there's one thing. I don't take the Rams thing. I look at how he was great. There was a time period when arguably Kurt Warner, at the end of his career, you wouldn't have wanted to go against him when he was in Arizona. There was a point in time in his career at Arizona where he did it in 2 spots where he was arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And I look at how with him, I think he did enough where you're like, that guy was one of the best of his time period. That's how I judge the Hall of Fame. You look at who is in the football, I look at who is the best player in that time period, that position. Kurt Warner was arguably one of the best in a time where, and he's forgotten because he was, when you look at the era he had to compete with, Manning, Brady, Rivers is probably going to the Hall of Fame. Eli is probably going to the Hall of Fame. Favre, Rodgers a little bit. You got to see a little bit of Rodgers. I mean, you look at who he had to compete with. It's funny. He's the forgotten guy. But I remember Kurt Warner. I mean, if he won another Super Bowl in Arizona, I don't think it would have been a debate. I think if he beat Pittsburgh, it's no debate.
Well, I disagree with you. 2 year. You know, he had some good years, and so does other quarterbacks. He got to Super Bowl. He made it to another one. It's really he had 3 good years. Now Pat Mahomes retires tomorrow. Does he make the Hall of Fame?
Probably.
He broke every record that Warner had. He did everything that Warner did plus better. Does he make it to the Hall of Fame after 3 years?
Yes.
No.
That's a career? Absolutely not.
Oh, can I tell you why? Yes.
That wasn't his career.
If he retired tomorrow, you look at what he did, like in the 3 years. You look at his 3-year period. He was arguably the best player in the league, best quarterback in the league for 3 years.
That doesn't matter. That wouldn't get him in. He would get him in. That's silly to say because that's not
Super Bowl.
Kurt Warner got in because of the Super Bowls.
Right. Super Bowl got him in. Yep.
You know, he started his career late. You know, he was on a great team. Then he was on the Giants. Didn't go well. Then he went to Arizona, and he was great again. But what he did in those 3 Super Bowls, he should have 3 rings. He could easily have 3 rings. You know, you had the Spygate where he lost to Belichick the first time. They lost by 3. And then you have that insane Santonio Holmes catch for Pittsburgh that wins the game at the end against him. But he played he had, at one point, I think he had the 3 highest totals in a Super Bowl for yards.
Yeah.
And then Brady came and broke him. But what he did, just because of what he did in the Super Bowls,
Exactly.
is why he's in the Hall of Fame, and he deserves it. Absolutely. You got to put him in.
Yeah, the Super Bowls is what got him in.
Yeah,
Super Bowl.
absolutely.
Pat Mahomes, like I said with Pat Mahomes, he did the Super Bowl and everything, and he did good. MVP. He's going to be MVP again before he's 24. He's going to he's breaking records. If he retires, I mean,
You think he's MVP?
Does he get the MVP? I mean, does he get the Hall of Fame?
Does he get MVP this year?
He got 1 right now.
No, this year. Do you
He'll
think?
get his 2nd this year.
Russell Wilson is putting up a fight.
Okay, man, I'm going to give you this.
35 touchdowns, I think.
I'm going to give you this. I'm not so certain. I want to count on Aaron Rodgers. I really don't want to count on Aaron Rodgers.
That's another one.
Because here's why. I think if Green Bay gets the number 1 spot in the NFC, I think you got to give it to Rodgers because, look, he's doing more with less. He's reminding me, you know what's funny? Rodgers is starting to be in Brady's position, in my opinion, because it's looking like Rodgers is dealing with a Brady crisis of he doesn't have a lot of weapons around him. He has 1 weapon, in my opinion.
He has the best receiver in football.
I know, but he doesn't have much else. Like, if you cover him, listen, the best receiver is the best receiver in football, but if he's being double-teamed or covered all day, what's that going to do for you?
That doesn't happen.
Like, if you're game planning against
He's
him.
got one of the best running backs in football, and he's got one of the best receivers in football. So it's not a Brady situation. But here's a question I want to ask. We've been talking about it a few weeks, me and Carl. He thinks Kansas City is just a slam dunk to make it to the Super Bowl. And I don't see it. I do not see it. This team has been just getting by almost every week they play. Almost every week they play, the Denver game was what? The Denver game was a 6-point win.
That's Denver, though.
Vegas, what? They're good.
It's division. They're always tough against each
I'll
other.
give you that.
And the Raiders.
The Raiders, 3-point win.
Yeah.
Who was the game in between there? I got to look at their schedule.
I mean, if I may even say this to you, I think when you look at the AFC right now, if I had to make a final prediction who makes the Super Bowl,
we're going to do that right now.
I gotta say this though. Sunday night, Buffalo made a pretty good case that they could beat Kansas City. I think Buffalo made its own argument that they may be the best.
Best quarterback.
That Kansas City
quarterback in that
record
division.
doesn't lie.
Listen, I've said it a million times how bad I think Josh Allen is. He is fucking good this year. He is. They said he worked on his mechanics. His accuracy is up. He looks like the real deal, and I'm dead wrong right now. Dead wrong right now. All right, so let's see. Miami was a 3-point win. No, that was this week, Miami.
Yeah, but that was a close game too.
And Miami, honestly, people are saying get rid of Tua. I love how
Tampa Bay was 3 points.
Yeah,
but
they should be at 3 points.
They're playing Tampa Bay Sunday.
No, they already played them.
They beat them. That was Hill and Mahomes throwing for 6.
We're talking about Kansas City.
Yeah, who does Tampa Bay play Sunday? I thought it was Kansas City.
No. Tampa Bay plays Atlanta.
Tampa Bay plays Atlanta?
Yeah.
Well, hold on a minute. Yeah, they have Atlanta. You're right.
Here's the thing about Kansas City. I can't sit here right now and tell you who could beat them because of they are unbelievable. Their offense is unbelievable. Their defense is not. I'm telling you that the way the AFC is looking, there's 5 teams that can beat them. don't. What's that?
Before you go on, he's gonna bring up what he said in the beginning of the year because he thinks that Colt team is gonna be able to handle everything. I know Mike too well, and he's gonna keep on going. Which he did say that. He did say that, and you know what? He's gonna ride
on the list of teams that can make the Super Bowl in the AFC. You have to put the Indianapolis Colts. You have.
I'm sorry. No. Are you kidding me? Buffalo will shred them by 30.
Didn't they play already?
In Buffalo. In the playoffs? Yeah, no. they ain't winning in Buffalo. I'm sorry. You're going to Buffalo. That's a one-way ticket.
Why is it a one-way ticket?
In New York, in the cold, they're a dome team. If the game's in Buffalo, you're playing in the cold in Buffalo. It could be like 0 degrees, like the water. You don't put water on your mustache because it's going to freeze type game. Yeah.
These guys live in Indianapolis.
But they don't play outside. They play in a nice
That's how it works. That is not – people always say that. That's not how it works. Teams that are used to cold weather, your body's not used to cold weather. You're in Miami every day. It's 80 degrees. Then you come up, that's different. You go out of your house every day, and it's 30 degrees every day, 20 degrees every day. Your body's used to cold. Come on. No way. So I think they already played Buffalo and Indy.
I think Buffalo. I think India, not Indy. Buffalo.
Indy is
Baltimore.
Indy is one of the best defensive teams in the league. When they have their defense healthy, and they had it healthy this week, they are lights out on defense. They're one of the best defensive teams in the league. They have one of the best offensive lines in the league, and Rivers is playing out of his mind right now. For him.
I mean, all right. But I had to laugh. I think they're as much of a long shot as the Dolphins.
No. I don't know. Maybe you want to say that. The Dolphins, maybe.
You know what's even better?
What's that?
I'm not sure about other teams with Mike, but Taylor is actually running now.
They're giving Taylor the ball. It's amazing.
He messed up fantasy leagues for other people for the first 10 weeks. In the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, he's been lighting it up.
I don't understand why they didn't give him the ball. And that is absolutely the best offensive line.
But I don't see anybody getting past.
I'll give them a shot, but they're my opinion, they're a long shot, in my opinion.
Right. We did this once before. We'll do this, and then we'll do our Christmas wish list. Buffalo definitely has a shot, right?
Agreed.
Everybody agrees. Buffalo, one of the top teams. How about Miami?
No.
Miami at 8-5. They're still on track for the playoffs. Do they have a shot?
They're a fraud. They're not. I think they play the first round. They get demolished.
I don't think they're a fraud. I think they're just a year away. But I agree. Yeah, no way. All right, here we go. Tennessee.
They play like they've been playing the last 2 weeks. They'll be okay.
Yeah.
Their defense does not play. Their defense does
not
play.
And their running game, Henry's back.
Henry always. Absolutely. And don't forget, last year Tennessee was up by 14 over KC?
14-21, yeah.
No, I know Texans were up 24-0 on them. But I think they were also up like 14 on KC. Tennessee, okay. What do you think, JP? Tennessee?
I said yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Indianapolis. Same record, split the season. Indy.
No.
Indy with See, I don't know how.
I don't think they win. I think they make the playoffs. I don't think they win it.
I'm just saying who has a shot.
No. Thinking about it.
Tennessee has no defense, but they have a good running game. Indy has both. Now they do have Phillip Rivers. I'll give you that. They do have Phillip Rivers, but they have both. And next year, we know next year who's going to be Indy's.
Right, but you said you got Phillip Rivers. You don't know how he's going to feel, and with this offense, he's finally clicking around with the running game and everything. He hasn't seen a playoff game, so you don't know what is going to go on with these guys.
Right, I agree.
They're going to the playoffs. It's a big thing for Phillip Rivers at the end of his career to get to somewhere where he'd never been before.
No, he's been to the playoffs. He just hasn't won.
One and done. One and done.
I mean, if I could say this though,
Peyton Manning ran that division. Remember?
No, but he made it to the playoffs more than once. Absolutely. I don't know if he's ever won a playoff game. You might be right about that.
Look at who they're going to play against. They're going to have to go on the road probably. Most likely they're going to have to go on the road second round if they get there. So
hold on. Let's get one thing clear. And this is is shown by Seattle there is no home advantage this year because there's no fans.
I'm just meaning by element wise. Like I wouldn't like. How do you think they would do against Buffalo in the snow?
We already went through that. I think they'd be fine in the snow. I think they'd be fine in the snow, but you don't know. Who knows if it's going to snow? That's silly to say.
Right.
You don't know that they're going to play Buffalo. You don't know that it's going to be cold. You don't know that it's going to snow. Granted, if they go into Buffalo, there's 3 feet of snow. Buffalo has the advantage, of course. Let's move on. And this team, Carl said at the beginning of the year, and I didn't agree. Now I do. Pittsburgh.
No.
Carl?
Unfortunately, their defense is hurt. And it showed. They have 5 main players hurt on that defense, and it's showing it now.
Their offense is just, they can't catch the ball.
They can't catch
I don't
the
know
ball.
how Ben's not going crazy. He went crazy on Antonio Brown dropping balls. He's not going crazy.
I think Big Ben's out of shape. Big Ben's done.
No, he's looking great.
He couldn't
He
even
is
run out of the
looking
pocket.
great.
He couldn't even step. He
That's
couldn't
true.
run out of the pocket.
That's
He's
true.
big. Everybody's been making fun of him all week because of that little try run. But unfortunately, the defense is hurt, and their main players are hurt. It's not 1 or 2. It's 7.
Right.
The linebackers are history. So I think they're real, but they're not going to beat the big-time offensive teams. They're not going to beat Kansas City.
Agreed. I can't see it. So now you had an insane Monday night game, right? Or Tuesday night game.
Monday night game.
Monday.
That was unbelievable. Baltimore, Cleveland. That was unbelievable.
He comes in 4th and 4 and throws a touchdown to Marquise Brown. Unbelievable. But let's start with them then. The Ravens. Ravens, for real? Could they win?
No.
All right.
I think they're not going to make the playoffs.
Actually, it's interesting.
They have
Wide
give you a little
receivers are on
bit clarification
COVID
on
list
that.
today. All their wide receivers are on a COVID list today. They're not even playing this week.
It's
That helps.
interesting because that win, if they lost Monday night, Miami would have had the advantage for the playoff spot. Now, if Baltimore can win out, they make it over Miami.
Here's the thing with Baltimore.
And they got an easy schedule.
We have seen this over and over again, and we saw it this year again with Kyler Murray. These running quarterbacks, come in the league like banshees, and they just own the league. They own the league until the league catches up to them just a little bit. And now Lamar Jackson cannot throw the ball.
No, you can't.
Now, Hollywood Brown can't catch the ball.
Yeah.
Either. Like that's a big.
Sometimes that works.
That's
Like,
a big. But he's just off. He's off. Same thing with Kyler Murray. All of a sudden, he can't throw the ball. And
Can I give you a little thought on that play on Monday night? Like, when they say, "Let's the best hitter to take on a knuckleball pitcher," a guy out on a slump. That was the best receiver to catch a Lamar Jackson pass coming out of the hospital, basically, or whatever he was doing, and just was a guy who basically who couldn't catch.
3 balls that game and then caught that ball. How about Cleveland? Now, Cleveland showed heart. Down 14-0 twice. They showed heart, but they lost the game.
They did.
They have 4 losses this year, and it's to Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Right? Or did they lose another one? Did they play Pittsburgh twice?
No, I'm not sure who they played.
No, they still play Pittsburgh. They played Pittsburgh week 17.
No, it wasn't them. Was it Dallas? Who beat them?
They beat Dallas. No, they stomped the mud hole in Dallas.
They beat them. But anyway, Cleveland, for real or not?
No.
Carl.
Exciting for real. Yes, their best bet is they'll probably most likely make it to the playoffs because they only have 4 losses. My thing is with Cleveland real quick.
They lost to the Raiders.
Yeah, the real thing I think real quick, and I want to put this out here, is they turned things around once Odell got hurt.
Yeah.
Once Odell got hurt, and they didn't have to worry about giving Odell the ball and making him happy, they played ball. That kid, that Mayfield, just proved himself over the last 6 games.
You want to know something funny about that? If I'm Cleveland, I got to be thinking like this. I just spent $25 million on paying Odell and Austin Hooper. Neither one of them played for me the other night. And they make more than their whole defensive secondary combined. So I'm like thinking to myself, I'm Cleveland. Maybe I can put that money, get rid of them and put that money towards my defense. Which if they have a defense next year, they could be dangerous.
They're dangerous now.
I think their defense is the best part right now.
Yeah.
The way it
They
didn't
have
look
the
good.
best defensive line in the game.
Baltimore runs on everybody. Baltimore could put up 200 yards on anybody because they have the quarterback. They have three decent running backs. Then they have the quarterback. Let's go through this quick because we're running out of time. All right. Kansas City, for real. And then I think that's it. Raiders and Broncos aren't. So I think that's it.
Right.
I'm telling you, I think the Colts are going to make noise. I absolutely think the Colts are going to make noise.
I think they'll be in the playoffs. I think we named the teams that will make the playoffs.
All right, give me a Super Bowl prediction. We keep giving them; they keep changing. Carl, what's your Super Bowl prediction? My NFC team is still in there, and JP's NFC team is still in there. Yours is barely there.
In the playoffs, but barely there. Yeah, it looks like I'm wrong. Definitely.
You
wrong.
could change right now. Change your pick.
NFC.
Who do you got for the NFC?
I'm going with a repeat of Super Bowl I. Kansas City against the Green Bay Packers. Coming in with the new, out with the old. Rodgers and Pat.
JP, your
I'm
Rams.
sticking. For some reason, I'm sticking with the Rams, and I just don't. It's funny. I really don't have. My only reason why I have doubts is I think the Bucks are going to somehow. I think the Bucks are somehow going to upset the Saints. They're going to somehow. I think they're going to somehow pull off that gauntlet to get to the NFC Championship game.
They already lost twice to the Saints. They're not playing the Saints again.
If they beat the Giants, I think they'd wind up playing the Saints because they'd be the lowest seeded team most likely left.
There's 3 games left.
No, in the playoffs.
As of right now,
if they play the
JP, as
Giants,
of right now, it's the Cardinals playing the Saints in the first round.
Cardinals, yeah.
And the Cardinals will win.
Oh, then they'd be playing Green Bay.
No, Green Bay has home field. They're not losing. They're the best team.
My gut's just telling me Tampa.
Probably play the Rams.
Yeah.
Probably play the Rams or Seattle. Whoever wins.
But the Rams, my gut's telling me the Rams are going to somehow pull it out. But I think Tampa's going to make. I think Tampa might shock Rodgers and Green Bay. My gut's just telling me that Brady's going to pull that one off.
No way.
All right, here's my pick.
But I didn't give you an AFC team. My bad on that.
Go ahead.
Buffalo. I mean, Sunday night they left a pretty good impression on me because I'm watching that game. I'm like, Kansas City might be in trouble. I'm like, they might be in trouble. That defense was brutal on Pittsburgh. Honestly, I'm surprised they didn't go away in handcuffs. That was like robbery and murder going on out there.
I'm going to agree with you. I think Buffalo could make it. The coaching is just it's insane. And I like McDermott since he got the job. He's amazing. He really is good.
I repeat something. I heard this quarter in the week. Buffalo is what Pittsburgh was 15 years ago. I heard on one of the shows, somebody said that Buffalo is what Pittsburgh was 15 years ago. Young quarterback that can sling it with a great defensive coach.
They got a lot of teams like that. Yeah.
I stuck with Allen. I always liked Allen. I thought Buffalo would win the division, like I said, and they would do more. And they do look good. I
think Seattle wins the Super Bowl this year.
No, I don't think their
defense is coming on now. Their defense is coming on now. They're all healthy.
I mean, they just played the Jets. I mean, look, anybody can look amazing against the New York Jets. Heck, I could look amazing playing defense against the Jets.
They're 9-4. I mean, yeah, their defense looked awful early in the season, but lately it's come on strong. They had a tough game against the Giants, and then the Giants go out and lose. I can see Seattle running through the playoffs. I think there's a lot of, the Saints can win it. The Rams could be there. Almost everyone who makes it in bowl. How about this? And this is the first year you can really say this. Almost any team that makes it, besides maybe the 7th seed, in both conferences could get there.
Yeah.
Tampa is going to be like the 6th seed.
Yeah. And I'm very, very surprised about Washington. They are playing good. Their defense, that kid is a monster, but that defense is great.
I told you that.
You know what I was watching?
I said that. Dismissing him. You love the Eagles. Eagles suck.
You know what's funny?
They got Jalen Hurts.
About Chase Young?
Run the table.
Sure.
You know what's funny about Chase Young? I was watching the Redskins play the other day, the Washington football team. And I'm like, damn, he's like a human body bigger than all these guys.
He's huge. All right, you brought up something that I was forgot. I definitely wanted to bring up when you said Redskins. We're getting to ridiculousness now. Ridiculous. The Redskins, I have said from the beginning, is a completely offensive name. It just is. Just think about what they're saying. The Redskins. That's a ridiculously offensive name. Cleveland Indians, when Native Americans call themselves Indians, it's not a derogatory term. Why are the Cleveland Indians changing their name? They're bound to political pressure. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's disgusting. And now they're all going to do it. The Braves.
I don't think the Braves will. I think.
Listen, we always said none of them would. Now when they all start, they're all going to do it. Because you don't want to be the one that doesn't. It's ridiculous. Carl, let's hear you first. Because I know where you're going to go with this.
It's politics. That's it. It's the politics. We keep on talking everything. Every day, every week, every month. It's another thing with the politics issues. It's ridiculous. They can't leave anything alone. I'm not even sure what they're changing the name to. Is it just Cleveland? I'm not even.
They haven't said anything yet.
Yeah. So
change it to the Spiders
because it's racist or it's just like the Washington Redskins. Come on, man. It's just
that I get.
Politics.
JP,
Where's that?
What do you think?
All I'm going to say is I'm not shocked. Once they announced over the summer that they were looking at the name, it was only a matter of time before they announced this. All I'm going to say is I'm not shocked because of the way things are, and especially with Cleveland trying to get a new stadium possibly built in the future, because they've already talked about possibly trying to get another stadium built in the next few years. I think they're trying to do anything to help their chances should they want to build a new stadium.
How old is that stadium?
30. It's hitting 30. It's going to be 30 in the middle of this decade.
No.
So
really?
Yeah, it's going to be 30 years old soon. So that's what I'm saying. They're looking at getting another stadium.
Damn, we're old.
That's all I'm saying is because they may be looking to build a new stadium towards the end of the decade, I don't think they're going to want any ill will in people's minds.
All right. Let's talk Christmas. Christmas wish list. What do you want for Christmas for your team? Now, putting this list together, Carl and I already got an early Christmas present. I was going to put it on the list, but we already got it. Steve Cohen buying the Mets and, hiring Sandy Alderson and getting rid of the cheap ownership. And really, you could already see it, that they're a desired destination now. And they're in on every free agent. I don't want to hear that they haven't signed any yet, but they're in on all of them.
Nobody's signed anybody
yet. So that was going to be mine. My first one, I'm going to get mine out of the way. I usually go last, but this is an easy one. Everyone can guess it. Adam Gase has to go. It could be right after Christmas because, honestly, the best Christmas present would be letting him stay the whole year, lose, go 0-16, get Trevor. Adam Gase has to go. How did they fired their kicker this week, and they didn't fire him. They fired their defensive coordinator and their kicker in back-to-back weeks, and they don't fire him.
Can I ask a question?
Hurry up, and then you go.
And this is why I'm going to ask you this, because this is something I've thought about. Belichick left the door open to possibly playing Jarrett Stidham. What if, God forbid, he decides I'm going to sit Cam Newton if they get embarrassed by the Dolphins and Buffalo back-to-back weeks?
Right.
And play Stidham week 17 against the Jets?
You think that makes a difference?
Oh, I don't know. That would be fun to watch because I think that gives the Jets a chance.
It's the Jets. Look how they played. But go ahead. Give me one wish list.
I'm just giving one in general. I'm not talking about the Raiders here because, honestly, we have a lot of good. So here's my first one is an NBA team in Seattle. Right that wrong, please. Right the wrong that they did with the Sonics.
Okay. Fair enough. I don't know where that came from. We lost Carl. We officially lost Carl. Must be his power could have definitely gone out. He's in Pennsylvania where they're supposed to get about 19 feet of snow. So
wait. Are they measuring snow by like a 7-footers now?
No, they actually said like the hardest hit area is going to be exactly where Carl lives.
Oh, nice.
All right.
Nice.
You lost power, Carl. You down in the basement with the snakes?
I can't hear you.
Okay.
I'm here now. I got hear you now.
You can hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, you're up. Give me your number one on your wish list.
Your number one, without listening to you, was your number
No,
one
yours.
Adam Gase?
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Mine was an NBA team in Seattle.
Oh, wow. All right.
Like, right the wrong, please.
Okay.
Wow. My number one is now that we got a new coach and we can finally start off the season on a positive note, healthy, I need the 76ers to at least win 10 games in the first 3 weeks of basketball so we got a fighting chance. They're healthy. We got a new coach. We got Curry to fill in the spot. Embiid.
Which one? Which Curry?
Which Curry?
Cheap Curry or real
the one
Curry?
that doesn't get the hype like his brother, but he's good. So,
Oh, you got cheap Curry.
yeah. You know,
Nice. He'll be losing
we're
my
good.
Celtics
We
a few
got
times.
Rivers.
Don't worry.
We got Rivers as a coach. You know, he's a stand-up coach. He brought Boston. He helped the Clippers. You know, they didn't get along over there. I want to see at least 10 wins in the first month of play of NBA. We start Wednesday.
One thing I'll say about Doc is Doc gets teams there.
Yeah.
And then can't get them further. He does well, but Clippers and Celtics.
He's a Dan Reeves in football.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
All right, my number two. I said that we got Stevie Cohen.
You're gonna take my second.
We got Stevie Cohen. We got an owner that's going to spend money. I want to see something. Just give me one top free agent. I can't remember. We have never gotten that. Never. We have never gone into the offseason and gotten one of the top guys.
Johan Santana?
No, that was a trade. Beltran, you could say, but Beltran calls the Yankees and offers them if they give the same deal, he'll go there. So maybe Beltran, maybe Delgado. I want one now. I want a top guy. I don't care if it's Springer. I don't care if it's Bauer. I want one of those guys to be on the team. Give me something.
I agree with you.
That was your second one?
Close to it. Yep.
All right.
I'll take
JP.
My
Number two.
second one. I think this one's going to be pretty funny. I may have jokingly said it earlier. I would love for Rick Pitino to get the St. John's job, and then the next day gets arrested as part of the FBI probe in the college basketball. I would love that. Like, that would be like best would be like him on the cover of the New York Times in handcuffs, leaving Carnesecca. That would be funny because, there's a chance Mike Anderson, if St. John's somehow this year does do well, could get called up to a Big Ten job. There is one I'm thinking of that could open up because an NBA coach could go for the NBA. Maybe Howard goes to the NBA next year.
There's no way this team's going to do well enough for that. Not
But,
this one.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'm
in
just
2
saying.
years, there's no way this team's going to do well enough.
But down the road, it would be funny. That would be a great little comedy session when they finally arrest Pitino for his involvement in the college basketball thing.
All right, Carl, you're up.
I'm gonna go with the football here with the Denver Broncos, and I have to finally give up and stop sticking up for John Elway. I'm a diehard John Elway fan.
Wow.
I'm a diehard Bronco fan.
Don't tell me you're good. Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say
I
that.
still think
Just
the
stop.
Broncos. I still think
Just
the
stop.
Broncos are good enough to make the playoffs. They can run out the table, but this guy hires his friends as offensive coach. He don't know what he's doing. I stuck by all the quarterbacks. I still think Locke is good. It's just now he's naming quarterbacks out of college that he says could fit the system. You have
He's already giving up on Locke.
yeah, you have the
Who are the
guy
names? Who is he naming?
has shown the BYU kid.
Oh,
That's
gosh.
shown.
That's another train wreck waiting to happen.
The draft.
Right. But Locke has shown last week was the first time that they gave Locke permission to do his own calls.
I'm impressed with Locke.
And he did great. You know what? Sherman is garbage. We need from top to bottom, we need them to be gone. Elway needs to go to the local bar or whatever he needs to do and keep
You know what they should make him? I have an idea for John Elway. Make him the team president, but no football control. Make him a figurehead.
He won't do that. But
Put him in a press. You know what? You pay him enough money, I think he would.
No, that's-
Jim Harbaugh, all them.
Maybe.
Give him a
There's
piece of
plenty of
ownership.
people out there.
All right. Here's mine. When I was growing up on Long Island, 4 years in a row in my youth. I was, I think, 9 years old the first time. Islanders back to back to back to back. 4 in a row. It's time. It is time. Last year, they get to the conference finals. They have the best GM in the history of the NHL. I won 3 cups with the Devils. I've had to sit through the Rangers winning 1, the Devils winning 3. It's time. Islanders, one of my teams has to win. I've seen one of my teams win. Well, besides the Islanders, yeah, when I was young. And then the Mets, 86, and that's it. My teams suck every year. Every year. I want a title. I want a title. I want it now. Islanders win the cup this year.
You know, I want the McRib to be available year-round, but it's only here for a limited time, so I can understand the pain with that. But in all seriousness, in my third one, this is, I think, an interesting one. I would love to see, and this is one of my little Christmas gift here, I would love to see the Jets somehow win a game this year just to get and still get the number 1 pick after winning a game. Like the week that they're going to win, Jacksonville somehow wins as well, just so the Jets could add the insult to injury situation where it looks like they aren't going to get the number 1 pick, but Jacksonville somehow wins, so they still get the number 1 pick. I would love that.
That's great for the Jets, and that means they don't.
Yeah, that would be funny though.
They don't go down in history, and they still get their guy.
But that would be funny though, because all the Jet fans would be at that point.
That's not how Jets work, though. That's not.
But you wouldn't be funny that all the Jet fans would be like panicking that they didn't get the number 1 pick, and the Jacksonville loses would be great. That would be great.
Carl, what do you got?
The Mets. You talked about them. New owner. They went out, got a catcher. You know, they're working on other things. We need a free agent. All I'm asking for is to win a division. I want the first step. I want the division first.
Now, they're in one of the toughest divisions. That's the only thing, but still,
I'm not going to be the fan.
You're good. You're good.
Fan saying I want to win the World Series. Of course, I want to see it. But let's get to the step. Let's get the fans where they want it. Let's win a division first and say, you know what? We're where we're going. We're in the right direction. We got the right owner. I want a division title. I don't want Atlanta. I don't want to see none of those other teams. Nationals. We got a tough division. I want a division. That's our first step, and that's what I want. And I think he's doing the right thing. He showed that he's ready to go and win. He's not going to say, let's win the World Series. He wants to start and win.
He said that, though. He said he wants a World Series in 3 to 5 years.
Right, and that's fine.
I love it.
Let's win it. I want a division first. Let's get the division, and then we'll go from there. Our Christmas is next year. We could go farther than winning the division.
I'm going to add one more. We need sports back the way they were.
I was going to say the same thing.
We need fans in the stands. We need,
I would love to be able to work a game again.
Not worry about all this COVID. And that's one thing I think basketball or hockey, no, baseball said that the owners are proposing to the players are everyone, they push the start of the season back. So maybe it's instead of April, it's going to be May. It'll be a shortened season, but they guarantee every single player gets a COVID vaccine so that they have no problems. They don't have to worry about protocols. Everyone gets a COVID vaccine. The players are saying no because they don't want to take a pay cut.
You know what they should do? I got a simple compromise. Tell the players we'll play 162 games. We're going to work on a couple doubleheaders during the week.
They don't do that anymore.
That's how I would do it for 1 year.
I have that written down too about the fans, and it's on my paper. And in the beginning of all this, we were hoping for sports to come back, and I think we all agreed about, fans, the game's the same. Now that we had the games and everything like that, we need everybody back to normal. We need the fans. The basketball, college basketball, and football fans. Just for watching, fans mean a lot, man, and we need to go back.
Look
to
at Duke.
And hopefully, we do.
Duke. I never heard Coach K. I never thought Coach K would cower, but Coach K was cowering because he realized, oh no, I can't recruit. I don't recruit good enough anymore because I just got shellacked by a bunch of no-name guys from Illinois, and then Michigan State decided to run in and do the same thing.
Love it.
Listen, I think watching the football games, you don't notice the difference. I don't. I forget that they'll pan out and they'll show no fans, but I want to go to games. I need to go to games. I can't just, it's got to be the way it was.
Yeah, it's soon. I think we're going to see late spring. We're going to see it in baseball. We're going to see baseball first.
I think everybody is going to have these vaccines. I think every player in all these sports are going to, it's going to be mandatory. But that said, good show. Wait, should we do it? JP, you got something?
I do actually have something. I actually have a little bit of an interesting topic for this
All
week.
right. I'm not going to give you the whole time, though. You're only going to get 10 minutes.
Perfect. That's actually going to be perfect for this.
Here we go. The Christmas edition of G.
Yeah, here's my little Christmas spirit for you.
There we go.
Here's my little question for the week. And this is an interesting one. I thought this was pretty interesting, a pretty interesting debate, which is, would you right now, if you were the Jets, this is what I was asked, because this is a legitimate proposal that may come up. What would you do if you're the Jets, and this was an interesting solution, and you didn't get the number 1 pick? Let's say you got the number 2 pick. You don't want Fields. Would you make a 3-way deal here to get a boatload of picks? You mean to buy 2 trade backs. Let's say you trade back to Dallas, who decide, you know what, they're going to leapfrog everybody, not for a quarterback.
Not a hypothetical.
No, this is an interesting one because I was asked this.
Hypothetical is the name of it.
A hypothetical would be this. This is the hypothetical.
Go ahead.
Would you trade back to Dallas and then try to trade back again? If Dallas decided, you know what, we're not going to go for a quarterback, but we really want that guy from Oregon, the tackle from Oregon.
I don't know who's going to be there. I got to see the draft. If there's a drop dead pass rusher, I got to take him. Absolutely. The Jets have not had a pass rusher since John Abraham, and they never really had. They've been chasing that forever. So if you give me a Chase Young, Bosa type, then I have to stay there. If of course, this is going to be an 0-16 team. You need to just pile up picks if you can. So I would consider trading back if I get enough picks. They have 2 first-round picks, though. Don't forget. So
right.
Because the idea would be with the Jets is this was the thought. If they could pull off 2 trade backs, they would be able to get a whole bunch of mid-round picks this year.
Yeah.
To help build this team because it's interesting.
I guess
this is going to be part 2 of it.
You're not telling me the player that they're not getting it too.
Here's the thing: you wouldn't be getting. You would decide. You know what? You're not going to go after Fields.
If we don't get Trevor, I don't want a quarterback. But that's
what I'm saying. You're going to 2,
though.
but you have a shot. Here's what I'm going to say to you: you have a shot at getting the kid from Penn State at 5.
Which kid?
The kid Parsons from Penn State, the edge rusher.
Why don't I take him at 2?
Because he's not number 2. He's good, but he ain't too good. Like you honestly, if Dallas calls you, you got to take that. If Dallas or another team calls you, you got to pick up the phone and accept.
Maybe.
Because that's too good. If they're giving you 2 second-round picks and a whole bunch of other picks with that.
No. If you give up the number 2 pick overall, you got to give me at least 2 first round.
I know. Of course.
At least 2 first round picks.
That's a given. You're giving me 2 first-round picks, 2 seconds this year, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Yeah, I think you listen.
Well, you're also talking about if the Jets win or not. I can't see the Jets.
Yeah, I'm just giving you the scenario. This is a scenario brought up.
Yeah, there is
because here's
scenario.
part 2 of
the
this.
Jets are the worst team we've ever seen in a long time.
Because there is
the worst team they've ever had, and they're one of the worst teams.
We also got to look at the coaching. There's going to be a new coach in town, so you
this
don't
is
know
where I
what's
was going to go
exactly
with
gonna, what's going to happen with Fields or Lawrence. So if they don't want those 2 quarterbacks, I mean, if they don't get Lawrence, they don't want a quarterback or whatever, yeah, they're going to move back. Of course they are. But I can't see them not moving on Lawrence or Fields. It's going to be Lawrence.
I don't think it's going to be Fields. I think it's going to be Lawrence, and if it's not Lawrence, they'll go for an edge rusher.
Can I give – this is part 2 because this is the part 2.
Go ahead.
This is part 2. This is what I'm going to say in the for a second because this is something I'm going to take off of Boomer and Carlton. Boomer, Gio, and Carlton, they all talking about this. The whole Bill Cowher to the Jets thing. What is your opinion on that? Because this is something I think realistically could happen. Because look, he had to come out and put a statement out to it. So when you put a statement out to something, you're thinking about it, and the wife doesn't.
He had to put a statement out because Boomer ratted him out. I think he might want to go to the Jets. His wife is a Jet fan. He does like New York. I think he would want to come to the Jets. I just don't see it. I don't see the old guys coming back and doing anything. You know, Gruden, it hasn't worked for. It didn't work when Gibbs came back. I'm not
talking more like
game.
I agree with you.
I think the game passed them by.
I'm more talking like, would you think Bill Cowher would be a great option just for 2 years, a 2-year off thing, where he'd come in and try to rebuild the Jets culture and have the chosen successor with him, kind of like a Parcells Belichick situation.
You're 0-16. You're bringing in one of the best college quarterbacks,
this year
of all time. Okay. Yes, he is. Whatever. He's one of the most hyped up college quarterbacks. How about
that? That is good. That is good.
Yes. And you have your choice of anybody. You're going to go with a 2-year stopgap guy with a guy coming behind him.
Like the idea would be that, let's say,
I get the idea. I understand your idea. No,
I'll throw a name out here who may not want the Jets job immediately, who might want to have 2 years to work with Lawrence, see if it works.
Why would the Jets do that?
Why wouldn't the Jets do that?
Why would they do that?
Why?
Do you think they want their quarterback, if it doesn't work out, to go through what Sam Darnold did, where you got to bring in another regime?
And you deal him. Like you give him the same amount of time you gave Darnold, 2 years. And if it doesn't work, you go.
You want to give your number one pick quarterback a guy that you don't even know if you want for more than 2 years, and then bring in another coach to put in another offense? Or is your assumption that the guy you're going to bring in is going to make him a better quarterback, make the team better, and get to the playoffs in the Super Bowl within the next 5-6 years?
Because I'm looking at the guy for example, this is a name I would bring up.
Go ahead.
And I think you could lure him away with this. Because I don't know if he doesn't get a head coaching job.
Who?
Bieniemy. I think you could lure Bieniemy away from Kansas City.
Oh, he's going.
He's on the top of the list.
But if let's say somehow he doesn't get a coaching job, which I think the odds of that are very slim. The odds of that I think are super slim. But if let's say somehow he doesn't wind up in Houston, or he doesn't wind up in Detroit.
I'm not understanding what you're saying. Just say the whole thing. Don't preface it. Say the whole thing.
What I'm prefacing is if Bieniemy doesn't wind up with a head coaching job, let's say somehow he doesn't. Right. And let's say if you're Cowher and you make this one, you say, you know what, I want Bieniemy on my staff, and I'm going to offer him I'm going to make him the successor. Tell Bieniemy, I'm going to retire in 2 years. The Jets job's yours.
Why don't they just hire Bieniemy?
Because here's the thing with Bieniemy, I would love to have him. We'll see if it works out with Lawrence. Because if it doesn't work, you could switch coordinators. Still got Cowher.
Why don't you just hire Bieniemy?
You think?
Can I tell you why I wouldn't want to hire Bieniemy? Yeah. I like him, but the problem is, I think with the Jets, I think he would work better if I was Detroit or Houston. I think he's a better fit for them because you look at they already have an existing quarterback there. I think with Lawrence and the Jets, you'd want to get someone in. If you're the Jets, you want to take all precautions. I want to get this right.
Didn't the enemy just run an offense that took a quarterback in his second year to the MVP?
Right, but my question, be the successor in Kansas City. Andy Reid's getting up there. Why would the enemy want to be a successor anywhere else except for a winning team?
Yeah, if he's going to be the successor, he'll stay where he is. Here's the thing too about coaching jobs. We all love to do this. You bring in, the old coaches. You bring in who's the best coordinators. You bring in who's the best college coaches. That's not how it works. You don't know how a guy is going to be as a head coach.
I'm going to ask you one last thing here.
You have no idea.
60 seconds.
Go ahead.
There's a reason why I'm interrupting it, because this is the last question. I want to ask you this. If you had the choice, because I'm going to give you who I think the Jets coach should be. Anybody, who would you make it? If it was me, I would do a very interesting look. I would go to the guy from Iowa State, Campbell. And I'll tell you, if I was the Jets, I would hire Matt Campbell. Who would you want?
They've been saying that for 2 years. I love that guy too. But this is my point. You have Mike Tomlin, that was a defensive coordinator for 1 year. You had Harbaugh, who was a special teams coordinator. You had Joe Judge, was a special teams guy and a wide receivers coach. You had Flores.
But who would you hire for the Jets?
Here's the point. I don't know. I got to interview these guys. It could be a D-backs coach from San Francisco. Just because these guys are head coaches at the college level or good coordinators with good defenses doesn't mean they're going to be a head coach. So I can't give you the answer. I have no idea. All I know is Gase has to be gone, and I know that bringing in old coaches doesn't usually work. That's what
Agreed.
There's a guy in Baltimore that's running that offense upstairs that is a really big on the list too, and I'm sure he'll take the big money to be a head coach somewhere and pick the quarterback he wants. He's a running quarterback thing. But Mike, you're right. You don't know who. No one knows anything. You know,
It's all the personality. It's all the personality. Yeah. Joe just came out of nowhere.
Judge would get a head coaching job, and look what he has done. Look what he didn't pick his quarterback, but look what he has done.
Look at the Flores. Look at Flores in Miami. You don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. Don't know. New England
So you have
prospects.
right now would have no qualms you would have no qualms if they pulled some random coach from God knows where, like the assistant linebackers coach from like the Patriots. You would have no qualms on that.
No, I'd have to give him time. No, but here's the thing: who is out there that I'm worried about? You know, Bieniemy is a great coordinator. Listen, from what you hear about Bieniemy, he's going to be a good head coach. It could be both. There are guys where that works. You know, look at all these guys. You know, Shanahan was a coordinator, and McVay was a coordinator. So yeah, it's not like it doesn't work. I'm saying one thing doesn't always mean the other.
Right.
Just because you have a great offense or a great defense doesn't mean you're going to be a good head coach.
The kid in the Packers too. He was a good offensive coach.
Yeah, LaFleur. Yeah, you don't know. You have to have the personality, and you have to command the room. Todd Bowles, Adam Gase, who was the moron that was with the Giants? Not Zimmer, the one before. Not
McAdoo.
Like these guys in their first press conference, you could tell. If I walked in a room and he was the guy talking, you're not going to listen to him. You're not going to. Now, have Mike Tomlin come into a room. Any room he walks into, you're listening. Joe Judge, you hear him talk. He fired his offensive line coach.
Yeah.
In mid-season of his
He's
first
serious.
season. I mean, come
Joe
on.
Judge is good.
Yeah, that's what you need. You need someone like that. Now, one guy I'll say that I would like that has college, yes, is a past coach, yes, is Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh. I would absolutely take him because he just, in the NFL, he could win. He could win. He showed that he didn't leave San Francisco because he was losing. He left San Francisco because the owner's son took over the president job, and he just fought with them every day and then went to the press and they fired him. Right. But I would take him. But like I said, you don't know who's going to be the next leader of your team.
Right.
I could have told you, I was a proponent of getting Gase, but I had no idea he was such a jerk like he is. And did you hear Gase? He apologized. He said that he let Chris Johnson down.
No. He's already apologizing?
He apologized.
Wait, he's still got 3 more weeks to let him down. Wait.
But all right, guys, that's enough. I'm going to have to go shovel my car out because it's coming down out there.
Where are you going tonight?
No, nowhere, but I'm in the street in the city, so you don't shovel and they plow you in.
Congrats.
I don't have that. But listen, Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas and a happy
New Year's. We'll have a show before New Year's, so we'll do our year recap. I just can't believe this year's over. Can't believe it.
Oh, yeah.
Went fast, and hopefully we get a better year coming up.
Absolutely. Can't be worse, right?
All right.
All
right.
Could always be worse.
So long, everyone.
Have a good night, everybody.